Have you ever noticed that certain areas of your life just seem to click? Like opportunities show up more easily there, or things fall into place without quite as much effort? And then other areas feel slower or a little harder to move. What if that isn't random? What if your birth chart actually shows you where life is more likely to open for you, and where it tends to feel more naturally aligned? And once you see it, you really can't unsee it. Today, I'm going to show you exactly where to look. Welcome to Charmed, I'm Sure, the cozy, curious podcast where we uncover the hidden magic in everyday life. I'm Jen, and each episode we get charmed by a delightful topic that brings a little enchantment into everyday life. March has arrived, and with it comes a hint of Irish charm. This month, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, we're celebrating luck, lore, and enchanting curiosities that have fascinated people across time and place. Today, we're getting charmed by luck, and specifically how to find it in your birth chart. If you want to follow along, this is actually a really fun episode to have your chart open for. You can pull it up for free online. Just search Free Birth Chart Calculator. Enter your birth date, time, and location, and you'll see a circular chart with symbols and sections. Now, depending on the calculator you use, your chart might look slightly different. Some systems divide the houses a bit differently. But don't worry about that for now. If you're new to astrology, just focus on which sections your placements fall into. We're keeping this simple and intuitive today. And if you're still getting familiar with the houses or the signs, you can always go back to my Birth Chart 101 episode and my episode on the elements, where I break down everything really simply. You don't need to know everything to follow along, but having a basic sense of those pieces will make this even more meaningful. Before we look at specific placements, there's one simple way to understand how astrology works. The planet shows what energy we're talking about. The house shows where it shows up in your life. The sign shows how it expresses itself. And the sign kind of acts like a filter. It gives the placement its tone or flavor. To really understand your placements, it helps to know the specific qualities of your signs. But if you're still learning, the elements are a really helpful shortcut. Just remember that each sign belongs to fire, earth, air, or water, and each element carries a distinct type of energy. So ideally, you understand both the specific personality of the sign and the broader energy of its element. That's what brings the full picture together. So let's start with the placement most often associated with luck. That placement is Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, growth, opportunity, and optimism. And when people talk about luck in astrology, this is usually what they mean. But Jupiter's version of luck isn't random. It shows you where life tends to open when you move towards it. Jupiter looks like a curved number 4 symbol in your birth chart, so find it and then look at which house it's in. For example, my Jupiter is in Sagittarius in the first house. The first house is your identity, your presence, how you show up in the world. Sagittarius is a fire sign, curious, expansive, and optimistic. So for me, what that means is growth comes through being myself, putting myself out there, and following curiosity. A few more examples might be if your Jupiter is in the 9th house. The 9th house rules travel, higher learning, and big picture thinking. You may find opportunity through exploration, education, or expanding your worldview. In a fire sign, this might look like bold leaps, travel, or saying yes to new experiences. In an earth sign, it may come through structured learning, discipline, and building knowledge over time. If your Jupiter is in the second house, for example, the second house relates to money, resources, and self-worth. Growth may come through finances, values, or what you build materially. If this is in an air sign, this might happen through ideas, communication, or multiple income streams. Or in a water sign, it may come through intuition, creativity, or emotional connection to your work. So Jupiter shows where life can grow when you move toward it. So with a degree of effort, in other words. Now, there's another place in your chart that shows something a little different. This placement is called the lot of fortune, and sometimes it's called the part of fortune. It looks like a circle with an X on the inside. Find it and look at the house it falls in. If Jupiter shows where life grows through action, your lot of fortune shows where life feels naturally aligned. If your lot of fortune is in the 11th house, for example, that's the house that relates to friendships, community, and future goals, you may feel most in flow when you're connected to others or working towards something bigger than yourself. If it's in an air sign, this may feel social, collaborative, and idea-driven. If it's in an earth sign, it may feel grounded, building steady, meaningful connections over time. If your lot of fortune is in the 8th house, which deals with transformation, shared resources, and emotional depth, you may feel aligned when navigating deeper, more meaningful experiences. In a water sign, this may feel intuitive, emotional, and deeply bonding. In a fire sign, it may feel energizing, so growth through intensity, change, and transformation. So Jupiter is where things grow, and your lot of fortune is where things feel easy. And then there's one more layer that helps you step into both of these, and that's your sun. Most people know their sun signs, and the sun in the birth chart looks like a circle with a dot in the center. So find that symbol and look at the house that it's in. Your sun represents your core identity and the area of life where you're meant to shine. It's where your energy feels most natural, most alive, and most like you. My sun is in Taurus in the 5th house. The 5th house is creativity, joy, and self-expression. Taurus is an earth sign, grounded, steady, and sensory. So I feel most like myself when I'm creating, enjoying something, and expressing myself in a tangible, steady way. If your sun sign is in the 6th house, this is the house of work, routines, and daily life, you may shine through consistency, service, and how you show up each day. In an earth sign, this may look like reliability and strong work ethic. In an air sign, it may show up as communication, adaptability, or problem solving. If your sun is in the 12th house, which relates to introspection, intuition, and the inner world, you may shine in quieter, more reflective, or behind-the-scenes kind of ways. In a water sign, this may feel intuitive, emotional, or spiritual. But in a fire sign, it may express as inner strength, creative solitude, or private inspiration. So your sun isn't luck itself, it's where you naturally shine. And when you're connected to that part of yourself, you become more open to opportunity. So when you look at your chart like this, you're reading it in layers. What the energy is, where it shows up, and how it expresses itself. Thanks for getting charmed by luck with me today. My hope is that you move through your week with a new awareness of where life feels open for you, and a little more trust in the places where things are already unfolding. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show to keep discovering a little charm, wonder, and inspiration each week. And if you're listening on YouTube, I'd love to know, where is your Jupiter placement? And do you feel like that area of your life has been a little lucky or even more supported for you? Leave me a comment. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And now it's time for Practical Magic, a small idea from today's episode that you can bring into your own life. This week, I want you to spend a little time with your birth chart, not trying to analyze everything, but simply observing. Start with your Jupiter placement. Look at the house it's in and reflect for a moment. Does this area of your life feel like a place where things have grown, where opportunities have shown up, or where things tend to open when you engage with them? Then look at your lot of fortune. Where does life feel a little easier? Where do things seem to flow more naturally? And finally, look at your sun. Where do you feel most like yourself? Where do you feel confident, natural, or fully expressed? And as you look at these, ask yourself, does this resonate? Do I recognize this in my life? Or is this something I haven't fully stepped into yet? Because this is really what makes astrology meaningful. It gives you language for patterns you may have already been living but haven't fully seen. It helps you recognize where you're supported, where things come more naturally, and where you don't have to push quite so hard, where you naturally shine. And when you start to notice that, you can begin to trust those areas more. You can lean into what's already working instead of constantly trying to force what isn't. And sometimes that small shift from pushing to recognizing your natural gifts and better aligning with them is where things can really start to fall into place. Thanks for listening to Charmed, I'm Sure. And until next time, may every day bring a little charm your way.